The engagement ring sat on my kitchen counter like an accusation. I found it beside Emma's post-it, 3 years together, 8 months engaged, reduced to a yellow square saying she'd made a mistake. While I was away on a work trip, she'd slept with a guy from her gym. Everyone already knew, everyone wanted me to work it out. No one asked how I felt. Messages poured in telling me it was one night, that she was drunk, that love deserved forgiveness. I stared at the empty apartment and realized something simple. Betrayal doesn't shrink just because people excuse it. So I stopped discussing feelings and started making decisions. Jake and Lisa lived in my Beacon Hill rental at a discount because they were friends. I evicted them. Tom and Rachel used my beach house whenever they wanted. I cut access. I ended every favor, every open door, every unspoken agreement. They called me vindictive, petty, cold. I didn't argue. This wasn't revenge. It was boundaries, finally enforced. Emma kept calling. I didn't answer. By the time the noise settled, what remained was quiet, control, and the clear understanding that losing people who don't respect you isn't loss at all. It's correction. Wednesday morning, Alan called before I'd finished my first coffee. It started, he said. What started? The pushback. Tom Bradley showed up at the office 20 minutes ago. Security wouldn't let him up, but he's in the lobby making a scene. Says he needs to talk to you about the beach house. I checked the time, 7:45. I'll be there in 30. David, maybe let me handle this. Let things cool down. I'll be there in 30. The drive downtown gave me time to think about Tom. We'd met freshman year at BU. He'd been the life of every party, the guy everyone wanted to be around. Charismatic, funny, generous with his time and attention. He'd introduced me to half the people I knew in Boston, including Jake, including, eventually, Emma. Tom worked in tech sales for a startup that had gone public 2 years ago. Made good money. Not beach house and Rockport money, but enough to live comfortably in a South End apartment with Rachel. They'd been together 4 years. Rachel taught elementary school in Cambridge. Sweet girl. A little naive, maybe, but genuinely kind. At least, I'd thought she was kind. Before she'd hosted the party where Emma decided to destroy our relationship. I parked in the building garage and took the elevator to the lobby. Tom stood near the security desk, pacing. He wore designer jeans and a North Face fleece. His hair was gelled, his stubble carefully maintained. He looked like a guy who had his life together. David, he strode over. Finally, I've been trying to reach you since yesterday. I know. Then why haven't you called back? We need to talk about this beach house situation, and Jake and Lisa. What you're doing is insane. It's business, not personal. Not personal? His voice echoed in the marble lobby. You're throwing our friends out on the street and locking us out of the house we've been using for 3 years. How is that not personal? Because I own the property. You don't. Simple as that. Tom grabbed my arm. Stop being an idiot and listen to me. Emma made a mistake. One mistake. We've all made mistakes. You're blowing this completely out of proportion. I looked down at his hand on my arm until he let go. Did you know? I asked. At the party. Did you see it happen? His expression shifted. I didn't see anything specific. It was crowded. People were drinking. But David, even if something happened. Even if? Okay, fine. Something happened, but it was nothing. A drunken hookup. Meaningless. Emma loves you. She wants to marry you. Don't throw that away because you're angry. I'm not angry, I said. And I wasn't. That was the weird part. I felt calm. Clear. Like I'd been walking through fog for 3 years, and suddenly the sun had burned it away. I'm making business decisions about my properties. You and Rachel don't have access to the beach house anymore. Jake and Lisa need to find a new apartment. These are reasonable decisions based on changed circumstances. Changed circumstances? Tom laughed, but it sounded forced. You mean because your friends told you the truth? That you're being ridiculous? My friends took the side of the person who betrayed me. That changed things. We didn't take her side. We're trying to help you both. You're part of our group, our family. We don't want to see you throw everything away over one night. I walked toward the elevator. Tom followed. David, come on. Be reasonable. Rachel's birthday is next month. We were going to have a big weekend at the beach house. We've been planning it for weeks. You can't just... I can. I did. Find somewhere else. The elevator doors opened. I stepped in. Tom blocked them from closing. What about Jake and Lisa? They've been looking at apartments. Everything in Beacon Hill is insanely expensive. They can't afford market rate. Not my problem. Yes, it is your problem. You're their landlord and their friend. You have a responsibility. I have a responsibility to manage my property in my best interest. That's it. The doors tried to close, Tom held them open. At least give them more time. Extend it to the end of summer. Let them save up. No. David. Move or I'll call security. He stared at me, really looked at me. Whatever he saw made him step back. The doors closed. Alan met me at my office with another coffee. How'd it go? About how you'd expect. Tom's leaving. Looks upset. Good. Alan sat across from my desk. David, as your business partner and friend, I need to say something. Say it. What you're doing is legal. It's within your rights. But it's going to have consequences beyond the immediate situation. Boston's not that big. Our circles overlap. People talk. This could affect our business. How? Some of our clients are connected to your friends. Tom's boss is married to that woman who owns the yoga studio chain we manage properties for. Rachel's sister works at the architectural firm we use for renovations. These relationships matter. Are you saying I should back down? I'm saying think about whether this is worth it. Whether the satisfaction you're getting from this is worth the potential fallout. I leaned back in my chair. You want to know what I thought about last night? I thought about how many times I've helped these people, how many favors, how many below-market deals, how many free weekends at a property worth $700,000. I thought about how quickly they all decided Emma's betrayal was no big deal, how quickly they all told me to get over it. Not one person said they were sorry for me. Not one person asked what I needed. They all just assumed I'd do what they wanted. Forgive Emma. Keep everything the same. Keep being the guy who gives and never asks for anything back. So this is about more than Emma. This is about people showing me who they are, and me believing them. Alan nodded slowly. Okay, then let's talk about next steps. Jake and Lisa have until May 15th. That's locked in. The beach house is off limits. Also locked in. What about the rest of the group? The ones who aren't living in your property or using your house? What about them? Are you going to maintain those friendships or cut everyone off completely? I thought about that. The group consisted of 12 people total, including me and Emma. Jake, Lisa, Tom, and Rachel made 6. That left Mark Sullivan and his wife Beth, who owned a brownstone in Back Bay and didn't need anything from me. There was Jennifer Zhao, who'd moved to San Francisco last year for a job at Google, Eric Patterson, who I'd gone to business school with, and Michael Torres and his boyfriend Daniel Kim, who ran a successful catering company. I haven't decided, I said. We'll decide soon, because they're going to start choosing sides, and once people choose sides, there's no going back. He was right. I knew he was right, but I couldn't bring myself to care. The rest of Wednesday passed in a blur of work. I reviewed financial statements, met with contractors about a renovation project in Cambridge, took calls from brokers about a potential acquisition in Somerville. Normal work stuff. The kind of thing that used to stress me out, but now felt simple, clear, manageable. Around 6, my phone rang. Mark Sullivan. David, we need to talk. About? About what you're doing to Jake and Lisa and the beach house situation. This whole thing is getting out of hand. Everything I'm doing is legal and within my rights as a property owner. I'm not questioning the legality. I'm questioning the morality. These are our friends, David. People we've known for years. You're punishing them for trying to help? They weren't trying to help me. They were trying to help Emma. Because Emma's part of the group too. Because we care about both of you. David, I get it. You're hurt. You're angry. But you're handling this all wrong. I walked to the windows. The seaport stretched out below, all glass and steel and carefully planned development. When I'd first moved to Boston, this whole area had been parking lots and abandoned warehouses. Now it was one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the city. Change happened fast in real estate. You adapted or you got left behind. Mark, let me ask you something. If Beth did what Emma did, how would you react? Silence. Then, that's different. How? Beth wouldn't. We've been married 12 years. We have kids. It's not comparable. So if she did cheat, you'd what? Forgive her immediately because you have kids? Stay together no matter what she did? I don't know. I'd have to think about it. But I wouldn't throw away all my friendships over it. I'm not throwing away friendships. I'm ending business relationships with people who showed me they don't respect me. There's a difference. You're being petty, David, and vindictive. This isn't who you are. Maybe this is exactly who I am. Maybe you never knew me as well as you thought. I ended the call. Thursday and Friday followed the same pattern. Messages, calls, people showing up at the office or my apartment, all saying the same things in different words. You're overreacting. Emma made a mistake. We're trying to help. You're ruining everything. I stopped responding, stopped engaging, just worked and went home and worked some more. Saturday afternoon, Alan called. You're not going to believe this, he said. Try me. Emma started a GoFundMe for Jake and Lisa. Says they're being evicted by a vindictive landlord who's punishing them for being good friends. It's gone viral on social media. People are donating. I pulled up my laptop and found the campaign. There was Emma, looking sad and earnest in the profile photo. The description explained how her ex-fiancé was evicting two of their mutual friends because they'd supported her during a difficult time. How Jake and Lisa were innocent victims of a bitter man's revenge. How they needed help affording a new apartment in one of America's most expensive cities. The campaign had raised $14,000 in less than 24 hours. Comments poured in from strangers. What a terrible person. I hope karma gets him. Someone should report him to the housing authority. This is why men are trash. I closed the laptop. David, Alan said. You still there? Yeah. What do you want to do? Nothing. Nothing? Let her raise money. Let Jake and Lisa take it. Doesn't change anything. They're still out May 15th. The campaign is making you look really bad. People are sharing it everywhere. Some of our clients have seen it. Do the clients know it's about me specifically? Not yet. But Emma doesn't say your name, just that you're a commercial real estate investor in Boston. Won't take long for people to connect dots. Then let them connect dots. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not doing anything unethical. I'm exercising my rights as a property owner. If people want to be mad about that, fine, be mad. You're really not going to fight back? Not going to tell your side? My side is nobody's business except mine. Alan sighed. Okay, your call. But David, this is going to get worse before it gets better. I know. By Monday, the GoFundMe had raised $32,000, and Emma's post had been shared over 5,000 times. Local news outlets picked it up. A reporter from the Globe called my office asking for comment. I declined. Tuesday morning, I got an email from Jake's lawyer. A lengthy document threatening legal action for retaliatory eviction and harassment. I forwarded it to our attorney, who called back within an hour. This is garbage, she said. Her name was Patricia Reeves, and she'd been handling our legal work for 2 years. Sharp, no nonsense, expensive. Pure intimidation tactic. They have no case. You gave proper notice. You're within your rights. Ignore it. That's the plan. Although, David, I should tell you, if they push this and it goes to court, it'll be public. Messy. Your name will be in the news. Are you prepared for that? Yes. Okay, keep me posted. Wednesday afternoon, Tom showed up at my apartment. I have no idea how he got past building security, but there he was, knocking on my door at 4:30. I answered. How'd you get up here? Followed someone in. We need to talk. No, we don't. David, please, 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Against my better judgment, I let him in. He stood in my living room, looking around like he'd never been there before. He had, of course. Dozens of times. Game nights, dinner parties, the Super Bowl. Nice place, he said. Forgot how nice. You have 4 minutes. Tom ran his hand through his hair. Okay, look. I'm here to apologize. We handled this wrong. All of us. We should have been there for you instead of trying to fix things with Emma. That wasn't fair. Okay, that's it? What do you want me to say? I want you to say you'll call off the eviction. Give Jake and Lisa more time. Let us use the beach house again. Go back to how things were. No. David, come on. I'm apologizing. I'm admitting we messed up. What more do you want? I don't want anything. I want you to leave. His face flushed. You know what your problem is? You're so focused on being right that you can't see how much you're hurting people. Jake and Lisa are scrambling to find a place. They've looked at 15 apartments. Everything's either too expensive or too small or in a bad neighborhood. Do you have any idea how stressful this is for them? Do you have any idea how stressful it was for me to find out my fiancé cheated on me? That's not the same thing. You're right. It's not. Because Emma chose to betray me. Jake and Lisa chose to defend her. Those were their decisions. This is mine. We were trying to help. You were trying to help Emma, not me. There's a difference. Tom shook his head. I can't believe I'm saying this. But Emma was right. You are cold. She said you never let anyone in. Never show emotion. Never actually care about anything except money and property. I defended you. Told her she was wrong. But now? Maybe she saw something I missed. Get out. You're going to end up alone, David. You know that, right? You're going to push everyone away until there's nobody left. And then what? You'll have your properties and your money and absolutely nothing else. I walked to the door and opened it. Get out. He left. I locked the door behind him and stood there for a long time, listening to the silence. Thursday morning, Jennifer Zhao called from San Francisco. We'd stayed in touch after she moved, occasional texts, video calls every few months. She'd been one of the few people in the group I genuinely considered a close friend. "David," she said, "I've been following what's happening. And I think you're making a mistake." That seems to be the consensus. Not because I think you should forgive Emma, because I think you're handling this in a way that's going to hurt you more than it hurts anyone else. I walked to the windows. Another gray morning. Rain coming down steady and cold. How so? You're letting anger drive your decisions. I get it. You have every right to be angry, but kicking out Jake and Lisa, cutting off the beach house, these are big moves that can't be undone. Once you do this, you can't take it back. I don't want to take it back. Maybe not now, but what about in 6 months, a year, when the anger fades and you realize you've destroyed relationships that mattered to you? They destroyed the relationships, not me. Jennifer sighed. David, everyone chose Emma's side because she called them first. She told her version of the story. You disappeared, didn't answer calls, didn't explain your perspective. People filled in the blanks with what Emma told them. That stopped me. What did she tell them? That you'd been distant for months, that she felt neglected, that the guy at the gym paid attention to her in ways you hadn't, that she made a terrible mistake but wanted to fix things and you refused to even talk to her, that you went from 0 to nuclear in about 5 seconds. None of that is true. I know, or at least I know your version would be different. But David, you didn't give anyone your version. You just started making moves. Cold, calculated moves. And now everyone thinks you're the villain. I sat down on the couch. You think I'm the villain? No. I think you're hurt and lashing out in the only way you know how. Through business, through property, through control. But that's not going to fix anything. It's just going to leave you isolated. Maybe I want to be isolated. Do you? Really? Because the David I know liked having friends, liked hosting beach weekends, liked being part of a community. Don't let Emma's mistake take that away from you. She already took it away. I'm just dealing with the consequences. By pushing everyone else away too? By removing people who proved they don't care about me. Jennifer was quiet for a moment. Okay, I hear you. But David, be careful. Once you burn these bridges, they're burned forever. Make sure that's really what you want. After we hung up, I sat on the couch for a long time, thinking about what she'd said, about Emma's version of events, about my version, about how the truth probably lived somewhere in between. Had I been distant? Maybe. Work had been intense. We'd been in acquisition mode, looking at properties across New England. I'd traveled a lot, come home tired, but distant, neglectful. I didn't think so. I'd still made time, still planned dates, still told her I loved her. But maybe love wasn't enough. Maybe Emma needed something I couldn't give, or wouldn't give, or didn't know how to give. My phone buzzed. Alan. You sitting down? He asked. Yeah. Jake and Lisa hired a publicist. She's pitching the story to major outlets, CBS, NBC, The Times. Position is they're victims of a scorned man's revenge plot, that you're abusing your power as a landlord to punish them for being good friends to someone in need. Let them pitch it. David, if this goes national, then it goes national. Doesn't change the facts. I gave legal notice. They're month-to-month tenants. End of story. The court of public opinion doesn't care about legal facts. I don't care about the court of public opinion. Alan laughed, but it sounded tired. I know you don't. That's what worries me. Friday afternoon, May 3rd, Patricia Reeves called. Judge approved the eviction, she said. Official court order. Jake and Lisa have until May 15th at noon to vacate. If they're not out, we can get the sheriff to remove them. Good. David, they're going to make one more push, probably over the weekend. Expect calls, visits, maybe even some kind of public demonstration. Stay calm, don't engage. Let me handle anything that comes up. Will do. Saturday morning, I drove to Rockport. The beach house sat on a small bluff overlooking the Atlantic. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, wraparound deck, private beach access. I'd bought it 4 years ago as a foreclosure. Fixed it up, made it beautiful. It was my sanctuary. The new locks were installed, new security system activated, new cameras covering every entrance. I'd spent $3,500 getting everything upgraded. Worth every penny. I walked through the empty rooms, checking for damage. Everything looked good. Tom and Rachel had been respectful tenants, if you could call them that. No mess, no broken furniture, They'd even left the place clean, but they'd also left their mark. Rachel's beach reads on the bookshelf, Tom's vintage surfboard in the garage, a photo collage on the fridge, pictures from past summers. All of us, smiling, happy. A group of friends who seemed to genuinely care about each other. I took down the photo collage and threw it away, put the books in a box, moved the surfboard to the shed, erased every trace of them from my house. Then I sat on the deck with a beer and watched the waves roll in. The Atlantic stretched out gray and endless. Seagulls cried overhead. The wind tasted like salt and cold. Spring in New England. My phone stayed silent. Nobody calling, nobody texting, just me and the ocean and the empty house that used to be full of laughter. I thought about what Jennifer had said, about being careful, about burning bridges, about ending up alone. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was choosing isolation, but it felt better than the alternative, better than pretending everything was fine, better than accepting betrayal and moving on like it didn't matter. I'd built a life based on careful decisions, on understanding value and potential, on knowing when to hold and when to walk away. Emma had been a bad investment. The friends who defended her were bad investments. Walking away wasn't petty, it was smart. At least, that's what I told myself. May 15th arrived cold and drizzly. I took the day off work and drove to Beacon Hill at 10 in the morning. Patricia Reeves met me outside the brownstone. "They left yesterday," she said. "Place is empty, locks changed, you're good to go." "They say anything?" "Nothing printable." We walked through the apartment. They'd taken everything. Furniture, dishes, wall art, even the shower curtain. The place echoed, felt bigger without their stuff filling it up. "No damage?" I asked. "Nothing I can see. They were smart enough not to go that route." We stood in the empty living room. Sunlight came through the bay windows, illuminating dust motes floating in the air. "You know they're still raising money, right?" Patricia said. "The GoFundMe is up to $63,000. Good for them. They're using it to say you're the bad guy, that they needed charity to escape your cruelty." "They needed charity because they spent years living below market rate and didn't save any money. That's not my problem." Patricia nodded. "True. Well, place is yours. I'll send over the final paperwork this week." After she left, I walked through the apartment one more time. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, updated kitchen, original hardwood floors. Beautiful space. Worth at least $4,500 a month now, maybe more. I could list it today and have it rented by June 1st, but I didn't want to rent it. Didn't want to deal with tenants. Didn't want the hassle. I called Alan. "List the Beacon Hill property for sale." "You sure? That's a cash cow." "I'm sure. Price it to move. I want it gone." "Okay, I'll have it on the market by end of week." I drove back to Fort Point and spent the rest of the day working from home. Around 6, my doorbell rang. I checked the security camera. Michael Torres and Daniel Kim. I opened the door. "Hey." Michael smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Can we come in? Just for a few minutes." I let them in. Michael and Daniel had always been the reasonable ones in the group. Calm, thoughtful, not prone to drama. They ran a successful catering business, worked ridiculous hours, rarely got involved in group conflicts. We sat in the living room. Nobody spoke for a moment. Finally, Michael said, "We're not here to lecture you or tell you what to do." "Okay. We're here because we've been friends for a long time, and we're worried about you." "I'm fine." "Are you?" Daniel leaned forward. "Because from where we're sitting, you've cut off everyone you know, evicted 2 people, locked down your beach house, and refused to talk to anyone about what happened. That doesn't seem fine. What happened is Emma cheated on me and everyone took her side. So I made business decisions about my properties. End of story." "But it's not end of story," Michael said. "It's middle of story, and we're worried about where the story ends." I looked at them. Really looked. Michael had circles under his eyes. Daniel's usual warmth seemed forced. They looked tired. "Why are you worried?" I asked. Michael glanced at Daniel, then back at me. "Because we've seen this before. People who cut everyone off, who decide they're better off alone, who convince themselves they don't need anyone. It never ends well." "I'm not cutting everyone off. Just people who proved they don't respect me." "But we're all still your friends," Daniel said. "Michael and I never told you to forgive Emma. We never said you were overreacting. We stayed out of it because we didn't know what to say. But we're here now, trying to reach you, and you're still pushing us away." "I'm not pushing you away. I let you in, didn't I?" "Physically, yes. But emotionally? You're locked down tight. Won't talk about how you feel. Won't process what happened. Just making cold business moves and calling it justified." I stood up. walked to the windows. The harbor looked gray under the overcast sky. "You want to know how I feel?" I said. "I feel betrayed, not just by Emma, by everyone, by the whole group. Because when something terrible happened to me, nobody cared. Nobody said they were sorry. Nobody asked what I needed. Everyone just assumed I'd forgive her and move on because that's what was convenient for them. Well, I'm not doing what's convenient for them anymore. I'm doing what's right for me." "And what's right for you is being alone?" Michael asked. "What's right for me is being around people who actually care about me, and apparently that's a pretty small group." Daniel stood, joined me at the windows. "David, I get it. You're hurt. But you're conflating two different things. Emma betrayed you. That's real. That's terrible. But the rest of us? We made mistakes in how we reacted. But mistakes aren't betrayal. We weren't trying to hurt you. We were just trying to keep the peace, trying to hold the group together. By telling me to get over it. By trying to fix something that was broken. Maybe we went about it wrong, but the intent wasn't to hurt you. The intent was to help." I turned to face them. "Do you know what Emma told people? That I'd been distant, neglectful, that the guy at the gym gave her attention I didn't, that she was justified in what she did." "We know," Michael said quietly, "and we don't believe her." "Then why didn't you say so? Why didn't anyone push back when she told that story?" "Because we weren't there. We don't know what your relationship was like day to day. For all we knew, maybe you had been distant. Maybe there were problems we didn't see. We weren't going to call her a liar when we didn't know the truth. So you just let her control the narrative." "We stayed neutral. There's a difference." I shook my head. "Neutral isn't neutral when one person is clearly wrong. Neutral is taking their side by default." The three of us stood there, silent. Rain started falling outside, tapping against the windows, distant thunder rolling in from the harbor. "We should go," Daniel said finally. "But David, if you ever want to talk, really talk, about anything, we're here. No judgment, no agenda, just friends." "Thanks." They left. I stood at the windows for a long time after, watching the storm roll in. The next week passed quietly. I worked, came home, ate, slept, repeat. The Beacon Hill property sold in 4 days. Multiple offers, bidding war, closed 10% over asking. I cleared almost $400,000 in profit. Alan wanted to celebrate. I declined. The GoFundMe closed at $78,000. Jake and Lisa moved to Somerville, posted pictures of their new place on social media, smaller apartment, further from downtown, but nice. They looked happy. Good for them. Tom and Rachel stopped trying to contact me, so did most of the group. The text slowed, then stopped, then disappeared entirely. I was off the grid as far as they were concerned, and I was fine with that. June arrived, summer in Boston, the city transformed, tourists everywhere, college kids moving out, young professionals moving in, the harbor filled with boats, parks filled with people. I spent my weekends at the beach house, alone, reading, swimming, working on my laptop from the deck. It was peaceful, quiet, exactly what I wanted, or at least what I told myself I wanted. One Saturday afternoon in mid-June, I was sitting on the deck when someone knocked on the front door. I almost didn't answer. The house was private, gated. Nobody should have been able to get close enough to knock. But curiosity won. I went to the door. Emma stood on my porch. She looked different, thinner, tired. Her hair was shorter. She wore jeans and a plain white t-shirt. No makeup, no jewelry. Just Emma. "How did you get in?" I asked. "Climbed the fence. Sorry, I needed to talk to you." "We have nothing to talk about. Please, David, 5 minutes. Then I'll leave and never bother you again." Against every instinct, I stepped aside. As she came in, stood in the living room, looked around at the empty walls where the photos used to hang. "You took everything down," she said. "Why are you here, Emma?" She sat on the couch, folded her hands in her lap. "I'm here to tell you that you were right, about everything." "Okay. The guy from the gym, it wasn't one time, it was 3 times, over 2 weeks. I lied, I minimized, I made it sound like a drunken mistake when it wasn't. I chose to do it 3 separate times, and I'm so sorry. I stood by the windows, didn't sit, didn't move closer." "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked. "Because you deserve the truth, and because I've spent the last 2 months in therapy trying to figure out why I did it, and my therapist helped me see that I was blaming you instead of taking responsibility. I told everyone you'd been distant and neglectful. I made you the villain, but none of that was true. You were a good partner. The problem was me." "Okay. Is that all you're going to say? What do you want me to say?" Emma wiped her eyes. I want you to say you forgive me. I want you to say we can try again. I want you to say I'm not a completely terrible person who destroyed the best thing in her life. I can't say any of that. Why not? Because I don't forgive you, and we're never trying again. And whether you're a terrible person isn't for me to decide. You made choices. Those choices have consequences, that's all. She stood, walked toward me. David, please. I know I hurt you. I know I betrayed your trust. But people make mistakes. People change. Can't you give me another chance? No. Why not? What we had was real. It was good. We were happy together. We were. Until we weren't. And now it's over. It doesn't have to be over. We could go to counseling. Work through this. Come out stronger on the other side. I looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman I'd planned to marry. The woman I'd imagined growing old with. The woman who'd cried happy tears when I proposed and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no longing, nothing. Emma, you need to leave. David, you need to leave, now. She stared at me for a long moment, then nodded, walked to the door, stopped with her hand on the handle. For what it's worth, she said, I really did love you. I still love you. I know. Then why isn't that enough? Because love without respect is worthless, and you proved you don't respect me. She left. July brought record heat. The city baked under relentless sun. The harbor shimmered. The beach house became my refuge. I worked from there most days, only going into the office for meetings. Alan noticed. You're becoming a hermit. I'm working remotely. There's a difference. Is there? When was the last time you had a conversation with someone that wasn't about work? I thought about it. Couldn't remember. I talked to you. About work. David, I'm serious. You need to connect with people. I connect with clients, with contractors, with brokers. That's not what I mean, and you know it. He was right, but I didn't care, or couldn't care, or had trained myself not to care. The line kept getting blurrier. One morning in late July, I was on the beach house deck working when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. David, it's Beth Sullivan, Mark's wife. We'd always gotten along. She was practical, straightforward, no drama. Hey, Beth. I need to tell you something, and you're not going to like it. Okay. Mark's been having an affair for 6 months with someone from his office. I just found out. I'm leaving him, taking the kids, and I wanted you to know because I finally understand why you did what you did. I sat up. Beth, I'm so sorry. Don't be. I'm not calling for sympathy. I'm calling to apologize. Mark was one of the people who told you to forgive Emma, to work it out, to get over it. And now I know why. Because he was doing the same thing, and he didn't want to face the idea that what he was doing was unforgivable. You don't have to apologize for his behavior. I know, but I am apologizing for mine, for taking Emma's side, for not understanding what betrayal feels like until it happened to me. You were right to walk away. You were right to cut off everyone who defended her, and I'm sorry I didn't see that sooner. We talked for a while longer. She told me her plans, divorce, moving to Connecticut to be near her parents, starting over. She sounded tired, but determined. After we hung up, I sat on the deck for a long time, thinking about Mark, about his affair, about how he'd lectured me on morality while doing the exact thing Emma had done. My phone buzzed. Jennifer Zhao, texting from San Francisco. Heard about Mark. You okay? I typed back, yeah. You? Honestly? Not surprised. Mark always seemed like the type. What type? The type who needs external validation, who can't just be happy with what he has. I thought about that. About external validation, about needing more, about never being satisfied. Was I like that? I typed. No. You were the opposite. You were always content with what you had. Maybe too content. What does that mean? It means you never pushed for more in your relationships. Never demanded that people show up for you the way you showed up for them. You just gave and assumed that was enough. I stared at the message. Read it 3 times. Is that a bad thing? Not bad. Just, it lets people take advantage. Which is what Emma did. What all of them did. We texted back and forth for another 20 minutes. She told me about her life in San Francisco, her new job, her apartment in the Mission, how she was dating someone, how she was happy but missed Boston sometimes. You should visit, I typed. Maybe I will. You still have the beach house? Yeah, then definitely visiting. Miss that place. After the conversation ended, I felt something shift, a small crack in the wall I'd built. Not big, but there. August arrived. The Beacon Hill property money sat in my business account, earning interest. Alan wanted to reinvest it, find another property, keep growing. Or, he said, you could take a break, travel, see the world, do something that isn't work. I like work. I know you like work. But work isn't life. Work is what you do so you can have a life. My life is fine. Is it? Really? Because from where I'm sitting, your life is work, the beach house, and nothing else. I'm content. Content isn't happy. I didn't have a response to that. Late August, Jennifer flew in for a long weekend. I picked her up at Logan on Friday afternoon. She looked good, healthy, relaxed. San Francisco was treating her well. You look terrible, she said when she saw me. Thanks. I'm serious. You're too thin. When's the last time you had a real meal? Or slept through the night? Or did anything fun? I have fun? Name one fun thing you've done in the last month. I couldn't. We drove to Rockport. Jennifer spent the drive catching me up on her life, her job at Google, the guy she was dating, a software engineer named Tyler who liked hiking and craft beer, her apartment, her new friends. She sounded genuinely happy. At the beach house, we ordered pizza and sat on the deck watching the sunset. The ocean glowed orange and pink. Waves rolled in, steady and eternal. I missed this, Jennifer said. Forgot how peaceful it is here. Yeah. Do you ever get lonely? Out here by yourself? No. She looked at me. Liar. I'm not lonely. I'm alone. There's a difference. Is there? I thought about that. About the difference between loneliness and solitude, between choosing to be alone and being forced into it. I think so, I said finally. Lonely is wanting connection and not having it. Alone is not wanting connection at all. And you don't want connection? Not with people who prove they can't be trusted. But what about people who can be trusted? What about people like me, or Alan, or Michael and Daniel? You're in San Francisco. So? We're talking right now. We can text, call, video chat. Connection doesn't require physical proximity. She was right, but I didn't know how to admit it. Didn't know how to explain that even long-distance connection felt risky now. Felt like giving someone ammunition they could eventually use against me. We spent Saturday on the beach, swimming, reading, talking about nothing important. It felt good, normal, like old times before everything fell apart. That evening, Jennifer made dinner while I grilled steaks. We ate on the deck under string lights I'd hung years ago. Can I ask you something? She said. Sure. Do you regret it? Cutting everyone off? Evicting Jake and Lisa? All of it? I thought about the question. Really thought about it. No. Not even a little? They made their choice. I made mine. No regrets. But you're alone now. Doesn't that bother you? I'm not alone. I have Alan. I have you when you visit. I have my work, my properties. My life is full. Your life is full of things, not people. Things don't betray you. Jennifer set down her fork. David, I say this with love. You need therapy. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're functional. There's a difference. You've built this wall around yourself, this fortress where nothing can hurt you, but nothing can reach you either. That's not healthy. That's just survival. Maybe survival is enough. It's not. Trust me. I've been there. After my mom passed away, I shut down completely. Didn't let anyone in. Told myself I was fine, but I wasn't fine. I was dying inside. It took 2 years of therapy to realize that walls don't protect you. They just trap you. We sat in silence. The ocean breathed in the darkness. Waves hitting sand. Eternal rhythm. I'll think about it, I said. Good. Because I care about you, and I don't want to see you waste your life being angry. I'm not angry. Then what are you? I looked out at the dark ocean, at the invisible horizon. I don't know. Sunday morning, I drove Jennifer back to the airport. We hugged goodbye at departures. Thanks for visiting, I said. Thanks for letting me. And David, think about what I said, about therapy, about connecting with people. You deserve to be happy, not just content, actually happy. I'll think about it. She smiled, but it was sad. I know you will. Whether you'll do anything about it is another question. She disappeared into the terminal. I drove back to Fort Point feeling strangely empty. September brought cooler weather and the realization that I'd spent 5 months living in a self-imposed exile. Alan was right. Jennifer was right. Michael and Daniel were right. I was functional, but not living. Surviving, but not thriving. But I didn't know how to fix it. Didn't know how to rebuild bridges I'd burned. Didn't know if I even wanted to. One afternoon, I was in the office reviewing contracts when Alan knocked on my door. Got a minute? Sure. He sat across from my desk. I'm worried about you. Everyone's worried about me. Because everyone can see you're not okay. David, when's the last time you did something that made you happy? Actually happy? I thought about it. Jennifer's visit was nice. That was 3 weeks ago. What about since then? Work makes me happy. Does it, really? Or is it just a distraction? I didn't answer. Alan leaned forward. Look, I'm your business partner and your friend, so I'm going to be straight with you. You're good at what you do, great even, but you're not present anymore. You go through the motions. You make smart decisions, but there's no passion, no excitement. You're just existing. What do you want me to do? I want you to take time off. Real time. Not a weekend at the beach house, a month, 2 months, go somewhere, do something, figure out who you are when you're not working. We're in the middle of 3 major acquisitions. I can handle them. That's what partners are for. I don't want to travel. Then don't travel, but do something. Join a gym, take a class, volunteer, date, anything that gets you out of this rut. After he left, I sat at my desk staring at my laptop screen. Contract language blurred together. I couldn't focus, couldn't think. Alan was right. I was in a rut. Had been since April. But I didn't know how to climb out. That evening, I did something I hadn't done in months. I went to a bar. Not one of our usual spots. A place in Charlestown where nobody would know me. I sat at the bar, ordered a beer, and watched people. A couple in their 20s laughing over appetizers. A group of friends celebrating someone's promotion. A guy my age sitting alone, scrolling through his phone. Everyone seemed connected to something. Someone. Everyone except me. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hello? David? It's Rachel. I almost hung up. Almost ended the call right there. But curiosity stopped me. What do you want, Rachel? I wanted to apologize. For everything. For my birthday party. For taking Emma's side. For not understanding what you were going through. I'm sorry. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What else do you want me to say? She sighed. I guess I wanted, I don't know. Forgiveness? Understanding? Something that tells me we can still be friends? We're not friends, Rachel. We haven't been friends since April. But we could be, couldn't we? If we both try? Why would I try? You made it clear where you stood. Why should I trust you now? Because people change. Because I've learned. Because Tom and I broke up and I finally see how toxic he was. How toxic that whole situation was. And I'm trying to be better. That surprised me. You and Tom broke up? 2 weeks ago. He cheated on me with a coworker. And when I confronted him, you know what he said? He said I was overreacting, that it was just one time, that I needed to get over it and move on. I couldn't help it. I laughed. Not a nice laugh. A bitter, ironic laugh. I'm glad you think it's funny, Rachel said. I don't think it's funny. I think it's karma. So, you're happy he hurt me? No, I'm indifferent. Just like you were indifferent when Emma hurt me. That's not fair. Isn't it? You told me I was overreacting. You defended Emma. You made me feel crazy for being upset. And now the same thing happened to you and suddenly you understand. Well, congratulations. Welcome to the club. David, please. I'm trying to apologize. I know, and I appreciate it. But an apology doesn't undo what happened. It doesn't rebuild trust. It just acknowledges you were wrong. Which is nice, I guess. But not enough. Then what would be enough? I don't know. Maybe nothing. Maybe the damage is too deep. We talked for a few more minutes. She told me about the breakup. About finding texts on Tom's phone. About the confrontation. About him minimizing and deflecting and blaming her for being insecure. It sounded familiar. Almost identical to my experience with Emma and the group. I'm sorry that happened to you, I said finally. I really am. Nobody deserves to be betrayed like that. Thank you, and David, I really am sorry for everything. I know. Take care, Rachel. I hung up and ordered another beer. The bartender, a guy in his 50s with graying hair and kind eyes, set down the bottle. Rough conversation? Old friend apologizing for something. You accept the apology? I acknowledged it. He smiled. That's a careful answer. It's an honest answer. Fair enough. Can I offer some unsolicited advice? Sure. Forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about you, about letting go of the weight you're carrying. You can forgive someone and still not let them back into your life. Those are separate decisions. I thought about that. What if I don't want to forgive them? Then don't. But ask yourself why. Is it because they don't deserve forgiveness? Or because holding on to anger feels safer than letting it go? I didn't have an answer. October arrived. The leaves turned. The air got crisp. Boston transformed into a postcard of autumn beauty. I started seeing a therapist. Dr. Sarah Kim, mid-40s, warm, intelligent, no patience for avoidance tactics. Our first session, she asked what brought me in. My friends think I need therapy. What do you think? I think I'm fine. Then why are you here? Good question. I thought about it. Because maybe fine isn't enough. She smiled. That's a good start. Over the next few weeks, we talked about Emma, about the group, about my response, about what it all meant. You describe your reaction as logical and business-minded, she said during one session. But underneath that logic, what do you feel? Nothing. 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 David, you don't cut off 12 people and evict friends because you feel nothing. That's not logical. That's hurt manifesting as control. Maybe. Not maybe. Definitely. You were hurt. Deeply hurt. And instead of processing that hurt, you turned it into action, into power moves. That's avoidance, not healing. So what should I have done? Let them walk all over me? No. But there's a middle ground between being a doormat and burning everything down. You could have set boundaries without destroying relationships. You could have expressed hurt without resorting to evictions. You had options. Those options felt weak. Why? Because they required vulnerability, and being vulnerable with people who already hurt me felt dangerous. She nodded. There it is. That's the core fear. Vulnerability equals danger. Connection equals risk. So you choose isolation because it feels safer. It is safer. Is it, or is it just lonelier? I didn't answer. The sessions continued, twice a week, digging into patterns, into fears, into the walls I'd built long before Emma cheated. Walls that Emma's betrayal had reinforced. Walls that might protect me but also trapped me. It was hard work, harder than any business deal I'd ever closed. But slowly, something shifted. Not dramatically. Not like a light switch, but gradually, like seasons changing. November came. I called Michael and Daniel. Hey, I said when Michael answered. You guys free for dinner sometime? Silence. Then, are you serious? Yeah, if you're interested. We're interested. When? This weekend? Saturday? We'll be there. We met at a restaurant in the North End. Italian place, quiet corner table. They looked nervous. I probably looked nervous too. Thanks for coming, I said. Thanks for calling, Daniel replied. We ordered, made small talk, felt our way through the awkwardness. Finally, Michael said, David, what's this about? Not that we're not happy to see you, but I wanted to apologize for cutting everyone off, for handling everything the way I did. It wasn't fair to you guys. You didn't take Emma's side. You stayed out of it. And I punished you anyway. They exchanged glances. We understand why you did it, Daniel said. We don't blame you. Maybe you should. I made a lot of assumptions, painted everyone with the same brush. That wasn't right. So what now? Michael asked. Where do we go from here? I don't know. I'm in therapy, trying to figure out how to be a person again instead of just a collection of defenses. I thought maybe we could try being friends again. Carefully, see if it works. We'd like that, Daniel said. We've missed you. The dinner lasted 3 hours. We talked about everything. Their business, my therapy, what had happened with the group, who stayed together, who broke up, who moved away. By the end, it felt natural, easy, like old times but with more honesty, more awareness of what could be lost. December arrived. The city decorated for Christmas. Lights everywhere. Trees in shop windows. That particular Boston winter magic. I called Jennifer. I'm thinking about visiting San Francisco. Over New Year's. You interested in showing me around? Are you kidding? Yes, absolutely. I booked the trip. First vacation in 5 years that wasn't just hiding at the beach house. Alan nearly fell over when I told him. You're taking time off? Voluntarily? Yeah. And going somewhere that isn't Rockport? Yeah. Who are you? And what did you do with David? I laughed. Actually laughed. Shut up. Seriously, though, I'm proud of you. This is good. This is healthy. Don't get used to it. Too late. I'm telling everyone. David's becoming a real human being. One afternoon in mid-December, I was walking through the seaport when I saw Emma. She was with someone, a guy. Tall, athletic, probably the gym guy. They were laughing, holding hands, looking happy. I stopped, watched them for a moment, waited for the anger, the hurt, the jealousy. Nothing came, just nothing. They walked past without seeing me, disappeared into the crowd, and I kept walking, feeling lighter somehow, like I'd been carrying something heavy and finally set it down. That evening, I called Dr. Kim. I saw Emma today, I said, with someone, and I didn't feel anything. How do you feel about not feeling anything? Good, I think. Is that weird? Not weird. That's acceptance. That's moving on. David, I think you've done a lot of good work these past few months. Yeah? Yeah. You're opening up, reconnecting with people, taking risks. That's huge growth. It doesn't feel huge. It feels small, incremental. That's how real growth works. Not dramatic transformations, just small choices, small steps, small moments of courage, and they add up over time. I thought about that, about small steps, about Jennifer's visit, about dinner with Michael and Daniel, about calling Rachel back briefly to genuinely wish her well, about the San Francisco trip, about seeing Emma and feeling nothing. Small steps, small moments, building towards something bigger. Thanks, Dr. Kim. You're welcome. See you next week. I hung up and looked out at the harbor. Winter had arrived in earnest. The water looked dark and cold, but the lights from the city reflected on the surface, turning it golden. Beautiful in its own way. I thought about the past 8 months, about everything that had happened, everything I'd lost, everything I'd learned. Emma had cheated. The friends had chosen wrong. I'd responded with anger disguised as logic. Everyone had paid a price. But maybe that was okay. Maybe sometimes you need to burn things down to see clearly. Need to lose people to understand who matters. Need to be alone to learn how to connect. I didn't regret the evictions, didn't regret cutting people off. Those decisions had been right at the time, given what I knew and felt, but I also didn't need to stay isolated forever. Didn't need to keep everyone at arm's length. Didn't need to let Emma's betrayal define the rest of my life. Small steps, small moments, small choices towards something better. My phone buzzed. Alan. Jake and Lisa are asking about the beach house. I almost laughed. Seriously? Seriously. They heard through the grapevine that you've been reconnecting with people. Thought maybe you'd extend an olive branch. What did you tell them? That I'd ask, so I'm asking. What do you want me to say? I thought about it. About Jake and Lisa and their GoFundMe and their new apartment in Somerville. About the eviction. About everything that had happened. Tell them no, I said. Some bridges stay burned. Fair enough? But Alan, the Rockport house. I'm thinking about selling it. What? Why? Because I'm tired of hiding there. Tired of it being a fortress. I want something different. Something that isn't associated with all this history. You sure? Not yet, but I'm thinking about it. We talked for a few more minutes. Then I hung up and sat in the silence of my apartment. The engagement ring was still in my desk drawer. I'd kept it, not sure why. Maybe as a reminder, maybe as a trophy, maybe just because I didn't know what else to do with it. I pulled it out, looked at it in the lamplight. The diamond caught the glow, threw tiny rainbows across my palm. Emma had cried happy tears when I proposed. The happiest tears of her life, she'd said. I wondered if she'd been lying then too, or if something had genuinely changed, or if people were just more complicated than I'd wanted to believe. Probably the latter. I put the ring back in the drawer. Not ready to sell it, not ready to throw it away. Just not ready. But someday I would be. Someday I'd take it to a jeweler and turn it back into money and invest that money in something productive, something that built value instead of just representing loss. Someday, but not today. Christmas came quietly. I spent it with Michael and Daniel at their place in Jamaica Plain. They'd invited a dozen people, caterers they worked with, friends from their neighborhood, a couple they knew from their church, everyone friendly. Nobody asking invasive questions about my past or Emma or the whole situation. It felt good, normal, like maybe I could still be part of things without losing myself. New Year's week, I flew to San Francisco. Jennifer picked me up at SFO in her beat-up Honda. She looked happy, relaxed, everything California promised, but Boston never quite delivered. Welcome to the best coast, she said. Careful, that's fighting words to a Boston guy. We spent 5 days exploring. The Mission, Golden Gate Park, Sausalito, Point Reyes. She showed me her favorite spots, hole-in-the-wall restaurants, bookstores, hiking trails with impossible views of the Pacific. On New Year's Eve, we sat on Ocean Beach watching the sunset. The wind was cold, but the sky was clear. Surfers in wetsuits caught waves, dogs ran free, couples walked hand in hand. "You doing okay?" Jennifer asked. "Yeah, actually, yeah." "Good. You seem different, lighter." "I feel different. Therapy helps, reconnecting helps. This helps." "Well, you're always welcome here. Tyler and I are thinking about getting a bigger place, maybe with a guest room. You could visit whenever." "I'd like that." We watched the sun sink toward the horizon, orange and red and purple, California doing its thing. "Have you thought about dating?" Jennifer asked. "Not really." "You should. Not seriously. Just get back out there. Remember what it's like to connect with someone new." "Maybe." "David, you're a good person. A catch even. Don't let Emma's mistake convince you otherwise." "I'm working on it." The sun disappeared. The sky went from technicolor to deep blue. Stars started appearing overhead. "You know what I realized?" I said. "The whole thing with Emma and the group, it wasn't really about them. It was about me, about how I let people treat me, about how I gave and gave without ever asking for anything back. That's on me." "That's not on you. That's just you being kind." "Maybe. Or maybe it was me being scared. Scared that if I asked for more, people would leave. So I just kept giving. Kept being the guy with the cheap rent and free beach house and endless patience. And when it all fell apart, I blamed them? But really, I should have been braver all along. You're being brave now." "Am I?" "Yeah. Coming here, opening up, trying to rebuild. That's brave." We sat there until the cold drove us back to her car. Spent New Year's Eve at a party in the Mission. Her friends, Tyler, people I'd never met. Everyone welcoming, nobody judging. At midnight, we all cheered and hugged. New year, new start, all the cliches. But also, maybe a little bit true. I flew back to Boston on January 2nd. Alan picked me up from the airport. "You look good," he said. "California agrees with you." It was nice, different. "You thinking about moving?" "No, Boston's home. But it's good to see other options. Good to remember the world is bigger than my problems." We drove back into the city. The skyline rose up ahead, familiar, comforting, mine. "So what's next?" Alan asked. "What's the plan?" "I don't know. Keep working. Keep going to therapy. Keep rebuilding friendships that matter. See what happens." "That's it? No grand strategy?" "No grand strategy. Just small steps." He smiled. "I can work with that." January passed. Work picked up. We closed 2 major acquisitions. Started looking at properties in Providence. Life continued its forward momentum. I had dinner with Michael and Daniel twice more. Started texting with Jennifer regularly. Even called Rachel one Sunday afternoon just to check in. She was doing better. Teaching yoga now. Dating someone new. She sounded happy. "Thank you for calling," she said. "I wasn't sure you would." "I wasn't sure either, but I figured it was worth trying." "Tom asks about you sometimes." "Yeah?" "Yeah. I think he regrets how things ended, how he acted." "Good. Do you think you'll ever talk to him?" "I don't know. Maybe. Someday, but not today." "Fair enough." February brought snow. The city buried under white. Everything quiet and clean and temporarily peaceful. I went to the beach house one weekend. First time since New Year's. The place felt different. Less like a fortress, more like just a house. I walked the beach, froze my feet in the Atlantic, thought about selling, about buying something new, about starting fresh somewhere without so much history. But I wasn't ready. Not yet. Maybe never. The house was mine. My refuge. My achievement. Emma and the group didn't get to take that from me just by existing in the memories. Sunday afternoon, I was packing up to leave when someone knocked on the door. I looked through the window. Tom Bradley stood on my porch. I almost didn't open it, almost just waited for him to leave, but curiosity, or maybe growth, or maybe just exhaustion, made me unlock the door. "Hey," he said. "Hey, can we talk? Just for a minute." I stepped aside. He came in, looked around. Nothing had changed except the missing photos. Same furniture, same view, same house. "I'm not here to ask for anything," Tom said, "or to make excuses. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for everything, for taking Emma's side, for minimizing what happened, for showing up here and being an idiot, for all of it. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What else do you want me to say? He ran his hand through his hair. Same nervous gesture he'd had since college. I want you to say you understand, that you forgive me, that we can be friends again. I understand. I don't forgive you yet, and I don't know if we can be friends again. But maybe someday? Maybe. I don't know, Tom. You hurt me. And more than that, you showed me who you are when things get hard. That's not easy to forget. I know. I'm working on it. Therapy. Trying to be better. Good. Keep doing that. We stood there awkwardly. Two guys who used to be close, who'd backpacked through Europe, who'd spent countless weekends here doing nothing and everything. Rachel told me you guys talk sometimes, Tom said. Sometimes? That's good. She's doing better. I'm glad. Are you? Or do you just feel guilty? He flinched. Both, probably. I nodded. At least you're honest. Look, David, I know I messed up. Really messed up. But for what it's worth, I always valued our friendship. Still do. And if there's any way to rebuild it, even just a little, I'm willing to try. I'll think about it. That's all I can ask. He left. I watched him drive away, then locked the door and finished packing. On the drive back to Boston, I thought about forgiveness, about what the bartender had said months ago. How forgiveness was about me, not them, about letting go of weight I was carrying. Was I carrying weight? Still? Maybe. Some, but less than before. Tom's apology didn't erase what he'd done, didn't rebuild trust, didn't make us friends again. But it was something, a small step, a gesture, maybe the beginning of something. Maybe nothing at all. Only time would tell. March arrived. Almost a year since Emma had left the Post-it. Almost a year since everything imploded. Dr. Kim asked me how I felt about the anniversary. I don't know. Weird. Like I should feel something dramatic, but I don't. What do you feel? Relieved mostly, that it's over, that I survived, that I'm different now than I was then. Different how? More honest. With myself, about what I need, about what I'm willing to accept. Before, I just went along, kept the peace, made things easy for everyone else. Now I don't do that. And that feels good? It feels right. She smiled. That's growth. One evening in late March, I was at the office late when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? David, it's Lisa Morrison. I almost hung up. Almost ended the call right there. But something stopped me. What do you want, Lisa? I wanted to apologize. For everything. For taking Emma's side. For the GoFundMe. For making you the villain. I'm sorry. Okay. Is that all? Just okay? What else do you want? I don't know. Forgiveness? Understanding? Something that tells me I'm not a terrible person? You're not a terrible person. You made mistakes. We all did. Jake and I broke up, she said suddenly. 2 weeks ago. He cheated. And when I got upset, you know what he said? That I was overreacting. That it was just one time. That I needed to get over it. I couldn't help it. I laughed. The irony was too perfect. I'm glad you think it's funny, Lisa said quietly. I don't think it's funny. I think it's karma. Silence. Then, yeah, I guess it is. I'm sorry that happened to you, I said, and meant it. Nobody deserves that. Thank you. And David, I really am sorry. For all of it. I know. Take care, Lisa. I hung up. The office was quiet. Just me and the city lights outside. I thought about Lisa, about Jake, about the pattern repeating, about how people don't change until something forces them to. My phone buzzed. Text from Emma. I heard about Lisa and Jake. Ironic, right? I stared at the message. Debated ignoring it. Debated responding. Finally typed, yeah, ironic. Are you doing okay? I'm fine. You? Better. Therapy helps. I'm sorry again. For everything. I know. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? I thought about that. Really thought about it. Maybe. Someday. But we're never getting back together. I know. I just wanted to hear that forgiveness was possible. It is. But not today. Fair enough. Take care, David. You too. I set the phone down and looked out at the city. Almost a year. Almost a full circle. I'd lost a fiancée, friends, and parts of myself I couldn't get back. I'd burned bridges and spent a long time alone. But I'd also found clarity, boundaries, real support, and the quiet strength of choosing myself. I learned that kindness without limits is self-betrayal, that forgiveness doesn't mean access, and that walking away can be the loudest answer. In April, exactly a year later, I sold the ring. It turned into possibility instead of regret. That night, I had dinner with friends. We laughed, made plans. Life felt open again. Walking home through the warm city, I didn't feel jealous or empty, just present. My phone buzzed, an invitation, a future plan. I smiled and kept walking. Some bridges stayed burned. That was okay. My life wasn't perfect, but it was mine. And for the first time in a year, that was enough.